Week one of the British Columbia Football Conference is coming up already, and a matchup of the interior clubs goes on Sunday afternoon in Kamloops. The Broncos hosting the Okanagan Sun, and I'm joined by their head coaches right now, Ben Macaulay from the Sun, live from the Apple Bowl, and Brad Yamoaka from the Broncos, I assume in Hillside Stadium, looking from the backdrop behind him there. Guys, I'll start with you, Ben. I mean, training camp for your club, you were mentioning when we were chatting, a bit of a different approach. Explain to me how you guys handle things.
Yeah, we kind of went away from the traditional 2-a-day practices. We haven't really done a true main camp in a couple of years, but we kind of started off with consistent practices, a lot of classroom time, a lot of film time, but we stayed away from the 2-a-days. We went no pads for most of the first week, just kind of built guys up in conditioning and did our best to keep guys healthy. And so far it's turned out pretty well. The heat is obviously a factor here, but guys are starting to adjust to it. And this week, going into a regular week of practice, it's we kind of picked up, feel like we're right where we should be.
Brad, how about you? Did you guys do kind of the traditional 2-a-day approach, or did you change things up as well?
Yeah, well, we've never really done the 2-a-days here. We, since I've been here, we've always kind of gone one practice a week for a couple weeks. And similar to what Ben was saying, we started off a little slower. We didn't put the pads on right away and ease the guys into it. And, I think it has effects on the guys. And, for us, I'm sure Ben's in the same boat we are. When you hit 40-degree weather like we've had in the last few days, it definitely helped the guys out.
An old guy like me would say, no 2-a-days, that's soft, man. You got to be, we were subjected to that punishment all the time.
Yeah, well, you know what? We want to play football in October and November, and we figure if we beat guys up now, then we won't be around to see that kind of football. So we'll ease into it, and we want to peak at the right time.
Yeah.
I was
Brad,
never as a player, so that's why part of the reason why I don't do them as a coach. So
totally, I can relate for sure. Brad, starting at home, that's big, I think, especially for you guys with such a great venue that you have there. Is there an extra sense of maybe excitement, a buzz around town right now for this game, and you see that as a nice advantage being on home field?
Yeah, I mean, actually playing at home is always an advantage in this league. For us, we always play better at home, for whatever reason. But, it's always an advantage to be, in your home stadium where familiar surroundings. And, when we play Okanagan at home, though, sometimes it doesn't feel like a home game because they usually tend to bring quite a few fans for themselves. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be a great atmosphere on Sunday.
Ben, what kind of impact does that have on your team when you see your supporters travel like that?
Oh, it's great, and I think probably half of those Okanagan supporters are my family, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. And they're all from Kamloops, so sometimes I hear them cheering for the wrong team, but that's okay. It's a great experience. We love Hillside Stadium, great facilities, and Dino and Brad do a great job of hosting every time we're there. So, as much as it's a difficult place to play, and because they play well at home, they played us very well at home last year. We also like coming up there. It's a quick road trip there and back for us. So if we can come out with a win there to start the season, we'd be pretty happy.
Ben, in your mind, what makes the Kamloops Broncos, and I know you haven't seen them this year, but what makes the Kamloops Broncos a tough team to play against?
Well, I think some of the history of between the programs is they've had a hard time beating us, but that means every time they play us, it's a big deal, and we have to be very careful not to overlook them as an opponent. Their youth tends to only be a factor early in the season, and as the season goes, they catch right up with the rest of the guys. So I know they're well coached offensively and defensively. Wiseman has them doing a great job on defense. So there's nothing guaranteed. We got to earn everything we get against them. Across the line, they look like, especially on the defensive line, like some of the guys coming back will cause some problems for us. So we have to be ready for that.
Brad, how about you? I mean, is that accurate that maybe there's an extra meaning given some of the history with these two clubs? And what is it about the Sun that have posed some challenges for you guys?
Yeah, well, the Sun, they're always a strong program. Whether they come out at the end of the year on top or not, they're always in the mix anyways and in the conversation. And they're the only team we haven't beat yet. So, you know, as an organization. So, you know, every time we play them, I mean, you know, we're always, you know, got that in the back of our minds that, you know, maybe this is the time. And, you know, like I said, though, they're a tough team. You know, again, I mean, you know, Ben says we got good coaches. They got great coaches there. You know, from what I've seen from their recruiting, they've done a great job of that this season. And, you know, we're expecting a battle. It's going to be a hard fought game. And, yeah, hopefully it'll turn out that way in the end.
Brad, if you had to maybe pick, and I don't want you to tip any hands here. I mean, Ben is clearly paying very close attention. If you had to maybe pick a guy, or maybe a guy on either side of the ball that you think is at the end of the season is going to be talked about, not just in Kamloops, but in the BCFC as well. Are there anyone that pops to mind for you?
From our team?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, yeah, I mean, there's, you know, obviously our veteran guys that are coming back. I mean, you can't, you know, as much as you have young talent and young guys that can come in and play in positions, nothing kind of trumps, you know, the age and the experience that some of our older guys have. And, you know, obviously Derek Waldy is a leader on our team. He's been one of, I would say, one of the best O-linemen in the league for a long time. You know, maybe not the tallest guy in stature, but he does a great job for us. And then on defense, you know, we got Curtis Munchkin coming back for his 5th year. So, you know, so we got some guys there that will lead us and, you know, hopefully bring the young guys along. And, you know, like, you get into games with Okanagan and you don't know what's going to happen until the bullets start flying, and you don't know how these young guys will react, but you kind of have a pretty good idea how your veterans are going to react. So.
Ben, what about you? Is there a player that I mean, I've seen a lot of sort of hype, if you will, about this recruiting class that you guys have put together. Is there a guy that you think is really going to blow the doors off in this league?
Well, I think, you know, we got a few guys that we're really hoping, you know, they look great on paper. They've looked great in practice so far. We'll yet to see how they turn out on the field. But, you know, I expect high things out of Daniel Townsend, who's playing left tackle. You know, he would have been a starter at the University of Calgary this year, but that didn't pan out for him. You know, and at 6'7" and 325, you know, you'll notice him right away. But he has great feet for a big guy. He's a big teddy bear away from the field, but he's you know, garnering a lot of attention from high level programs and coaches for his footwork. And he's very young, and I expect him to be, you know, in the conversation when it comes to the end of the year for the awards. But the other side of the football, tough to pick just one guy, but I think it's going to be tough for anyone to not notice Nick Daly. He causes us a lot of headaches in practice trying to block him. There's no way to block him with one player. He's very quick. He's very football savvy. He's going to be disruptive, and if he stays healthy, then you know, we see him breaking some records this year.
Both guys mentioning offensive linemen. You don't have to try and ply me for good press. I mean, I love that, guys. That's awesome. Is there any truth to the rumor, Brad, that you're going to be shaving that great beard down to just a mustache and having a mustache versus mustache showdown on Sunday?
I don't know if I can grow one as good as Dan, though, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll surprise you on Sunday. How's that?
Ben's been taking a lot of heat over that mustache, he says.
I have, yes. I've taken a lot of heat, mostly coming from home, I will say that. But, you know, I'm not the one who has to look at my face every day, so fair enough. You know, it's media time, though, so I expect a lot of chat about the mustache again.
Well, I'm sure Ben was in the running for the Magnum PI reboot that's coming up. So.
Guys, I really appreciate your time here. This has been fun. Best of luck on Sunday. May the best team win, and I look forward to chatting with you guys as the season plays on. Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Tom.
it.